Welcome to SATV News. This is Riaz Mahmood with our headlines. Religion code can no longer fool citizens, says Salahuddin Ahmed. People will reject those who obstruct a democratic journey. Current situation not acceptable as level playing field, says Mia Ghulam. Election Commission must act. Overall preparations underway for peaceful elections, says the Home Affairs Advisor. And now in details, BNP senior leader Salahuddin Ahmed today said the people of the country have already unmasked those who have no political principles but are still trying to deceive the nation by selling a religion card. Speaking at the inauguration of BNP's second day of the Plan to Build the Country program, he also said anyone attempting to obstruct the democratic transition or the restoration of voting rights through various tactics will be rejected by the people. Mr. Salahuddin also said their party is preparing plans for how it will govern the country if voted to power because, in their view, planning is half the job. Besides, he said BNP is planning for a modern, democratic and prosperous Bangladesh and is involving professionals, experts and citizens in shaping the country's future roadmap. Meanwhile, addressing the program, BNP Senior Joint Secretary General Ruhul Kabir Rizvi said JCD leaders and workers will be trained on 8 subjects so that they can reach out to people in their areas and explain BNP's plans, election manifesto and promises ahead of the election. Some parties are trying to mislead people using religion by talking about a ticket to heaven, he added. Jamaat-e-Islami Secretary General Mia Ghulam Parwar has said that the current law and order situation does not provide a level playing field for the upcoming election. The Election Commission must take necessary steps to address the issue, he added. He made the remarks while speaking to journalists after a meeting with the Chief Election Commissioner today. Ghulam Parwar also said that the nation is expecting a free, fair and impartial election. To ensure this, he emphasized the need to deploy the BGB and the army for polling center security. He said that the party demanded the installation of CCTV cameras at polling stations and a crackdown on illegal weapons. Jamaat-e-Islami also sought clarity from the EC regarding its stance on the election schedule and insisted on seeing effective action to recover illegal arms. Earlier, a delegation from Jamaat-e-Islami met with the Chief Election Commissioner as preparations are underway for announcing the schedule of the 30th parliamentary election and the referendum. All preparations have been taken for the upcoming national parliamentary elections, said Home Affairs Advisor Lieutenant General Jahangir Alam Chaudhary. All necessary preparation, including training for law enforcement agencies, purchase of body-worn cameras and ensuring electricity at every polling station has been taken, he said. The Home Advisor made these remarks today after the 70th meeting of the Advisory Council Committee on Law and Order held at the Secretariat. Training is essential for carrying out any preparation effectively. There is no alternative to proper training, added Jahangir Alam. Responding to a question about the killing of a police officer's parents in Rangpur, the advisor said instructions have been given to arrest the perpetrators soon and bring them under law. Regarding the recovery of looted firearms, the advisor said the process is underway. Asked about ensuring a level playing field for the election, he said the government is committed to ensuring a free and fair election. Retired Brigadier General Dr. M. Shekhawat Hussain, advisor to the Ministry of Labour and Employment and the Ministry of Shipping, today said there was no condition to hold elections when the interim government assumed office. The advisor added, however, that the country should hold an election and an elected government should come to power. The universal democratic process should be established, he said. He also noted that there is no reason why the government cannot ensure a free and fair election. Shekhawat Hussain made these comments during a press conference at the Secretariat today, highlighting the achievements of the Ministry of Labour and Employment over the past year. When asked whether he was satisfied with the current political situation, the advisor said at present, political parties do not know what they will do or what their future holds. All preparations have been taken for the upcoming national parliamentary elections, as you know, said Home Affairs Advisor Lieutenant General Jahangir Alam Chaudhary. All necessary preparation, including training for law enforcement agencies, purchase of body-worn cameras and ensuring electricity at every polling station has been taken, he said. The Home Advisor made these remarks today after the 70th meeting of the Advisory Council Committee on Law and Order held at the Secretariat. Training is essential for carrying out any preparation effectively. There is no alternative to proper training, added Jahangir Alam. Responding to a question about the killing of a police officer's parents in Rangpur, the advisor said instructions have been given to arrest the perpetrators soon and bring them under the law. Regarding the recovery of looted firearms, an advisor said the process is underway. Asked about ensuring a level playing field for the election, he said the government is committed to ensuring a free and fair election. Retired Brigadier General Dr. M. Shekhawat is an advisor to the Ministry of Labour and Employment and the Ministry of Shipping. Today said there was no condition to hold elections when the interim government assumed office. The advisor added, however, that the country should hold an election and an elected government should come to power. The universal democratic process should be established, he said. He also noted that there is no reason why the government cannot ensure a free and fair election. Shekhawat Hussain made these comments during a press conference at the Secretariat today, highlighting the achievements of the Ministry of Labour and Employment over the past year. When asked whether he was satisfied with the current political situation, the advisor said, at present, political parties do not know what they will do or what their future holds. Asked whether an environment for elections has been created, the said that can only be said by the Election Commission. A man was shot dead and 10 others suffered bullet injuries in a clash between two groups of villagers over establishing supremacy at Nilokha of Raipura Upazila of Norsingdi district today. The deceased was identified as Mamoon Mia, son of Abdul Awal of the village. Additional Superintendent of Norsingdi Police said there had been long-standing enmity between Shaheed member group and Felu Mia group over establishing supremacy in the area. As a sequel to the enmity, Mamoon, grandson-in-law of Felu Mia, had an altercation with the supporters of a Shaheed member around 11:30 am at the Darigaon area. And on one stage, the supporters of both groups equipped with arms and lethal weapons attacked each other, leaving 11 people injured. Later, they were taken to Norsingdi Shodor Hospital, where the doctors declared Mamoon dead. On information, police rushed to the spot and brought the situation under control. Additional police have been deployed in the area to maintain law and order situation. Viewers, are taking a short break. Stay with us.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিংয়ের জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন।
Welcome back. You are watching SATV News. Now, news from abroad. Thai Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul said on Monday his country never wants to see violence after fresh clashes broke out with neighboring Cambodia earlier in the day, but said the government would not stand for its sovereignty being violated. Thailand will take appropriate measures to respond, he said during a briefing. Thailand launched airstrikes into Cambodia on Monday as fighting broke out in multiple areas along their disputed border after both countries accused the other of breaching a ceasefire brokered by US President Donald Trump. At least one Thai soldier had been killed and 8 were wounded in the fresh clashes that intensified around 5 a.m. local time, a Thai army spokesperson said, adding that air support was called in to hit Cambodian military targets. Cambodia's defense ministry earlier said that the Thai military had launched dawn attacks on its forces at 2 locations following days of provocative actions, and added that Cambodian troops had not responded. Taiwan's defense minister said on Sunday that the island must strengthen its military capabilities after the Trump administration released its official national security strategy last Friday. The document states that the United States aims to deter a conflict over Taiwan. Taiwan Defense Minister Wellington Ko said Washington views peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific as a top priority and believes the countries in the region should work together on deterrence. Taiwan should also enhance military strength and demonstrate its determination to cooperate in building an effective collective deterrence, he added. Japan on Monday disputed China's characterization of a weekend incident involving the two countries' military aircraft, saying its self-defense forces had not disrupted the Chinese Navy's flight training as claimed by Beijing. The Chinese sides claim that the SDF aircraft seriously impeded the safe flight of the Chinese aircraft is unfounded, said Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara during a briefing on Monday. Kihara's comments came after Prime Minister Sanai Takaishi told reporters on Sunday that Chinese fighter jets had aimed their radar at Japanese military aircraft near Japan's Okinawa Islands, an account Beijing disputed. A Chinese carrier strike group launched intense air operations near Japan over the weekends as the East Asian neighbors traded diplomatic bobs in an escalating dispute, further straining ties. However, the Chinese embassy denied Tokyo's claims, saying Japanese aircraft had endangered flight safety by approaching China's Liaoning aircraft carrier as it trained with 3 missile destroyer escorts. At least 7 people were injured when Russian drones struck an apartment block in the northeastern Ukrainian city of Okhtirka in the Sumy region, said Governor Ole on Monday. Noting that 2 of the injured were hospitalized, Ole said that the building sustained extensive damage without providing further details. Ukraine's state emergency service said in a morning statement that the target was a 9-story residential building where fires broke out in apartments between the 2nd and 5th floors. It added that 35 people were evacuated from the damaged building and that assessments of structural damage in the city are ongoing. Ukraine's Air Force said its air defenses shot down 131 out of 149 various types of drones launched by Russia overnight. Meanwhile, Russian Defense Ministry separately claimed that its air defenses shot down 67 Ukrainian drones across the country overnight.
먼저 국민 의례가 있겠습니다. 모두 국기를 향해 서주시기 바랍니다.
재생 에너지가 풍부한 남쪽 지방으로 좀 눈길을 돌려서
김정관입니다. 지금부터 AI 시대.
The US is in discussion with Turkey regarding Ankara's rejoining the F-35 fighter jet program, and Washington hopes that the talks will yield a breakthrough in the coming months, the US ambassador to Turkey said on Wednesday. Washington removed Ankara from Lockheed Martin's advanced F-35 program and imposed the sanctions in 2020 over its acquisition of Russian S-400 air defense systems. Turkey has said the move was unjust and voiced hope that the sides could overcome the issue during US President Donald Trump's second term. The United States is in ongoing discussions with Turkey regarding their desire to rejoin the F-35 program and their possession of the Russian-made S-400. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed an executive order designating one of the country's most prominent Muslim civil rights groups, the Council on American Islamic Relations, as a foreign terrorist organization, becoming the second high-profile Republican governor to do so in recent weeks. CAIR's Florida chapter announced a lawsuit challenging the order at a Tuesday press conference in Tampa, where Hiba Rahim, the chapter's interim executive director, called the order defamatory and unconstitutional. To a governor, your designation has no basis in law or fact, she said. DeSantis' order alleges that CAIR has ties to Hamas, the militant Palestinian group that attacked Israel on 7 October 2023, killing approximately 1,200 people. So, Australia has become the world's first country to ban social media for children under 16, blocking them from platforms including TikTok, Alphabet's YouTube, and Meta's Instagram and Facebook. The ban is being closely watched by other countries, considering similar age-based measures as concerns mount over the effects of social media on children's health and safety. Below is a summary of what other countries and tech companies are doing to regulate access to social media. Australia passed a landmark law in November 2024, forces major social media platforms to block minors younger than 16 starting on Wednesday. European firms are accelerating efforts to diversify away from China's supply chains as Beijing's self-reliance drive and export controls deepen global trade uncertainty, the European Union Chamber of Commerce in China said on Wednesday. China's trade surplus toppled $1 trillion for the first time in November as exports to Europe, Australia and Southeast Asia surged in the wake of US tariffs, fueling diplomatic tensions over unsustainable trade imbalances. China's shipments to the United States dropped 29% year-on-year in November, while exports to the EU grew an annual 14.8%. The EU's trade imbalance with China widened to 1:4 in container terms compared with 1:2.7 in 2019. Russia sent a plane load of humanitarian aid to Sri Lanka after the island nation was struck by Cyclone Ditwa in late November, Russia's RIA news agency reported early on Wednesday, citing Shobini Gunakesra, Colombo's ambassador to Moscow. A plane carrying 35 tons of humanitarian aid has already departed for Sri Lanka. Gunasekara told the news agency, adding that it was expected to arrive on Wednesday. Ditwa, which was Sri Lanka's deadliest natural disaster since the devastating 2004 tsunami, killed 635 people and affected about 10% of the population. It damaged critical infrastructure and key crops such as rice and tea. Local officials warned that recovery costs could reach $7 billion. Before ending, we go through the headlines again. President expresses satisfaction over EC's preparations for polls referendum. EC delegation meets at Bongo Bhavan. Make upcoming election fair and historic. CA Yunus tells UNOs past polls were deceptive, not elections. NCP announces candidates in 125 constituencies. Nahid to contest in Dhaka 11, Sajis Ponchagor 1, Hasnat Kumilla 4. You are updated with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.